Lives community and kind folks, welcome to RPG with DBJ. I'm your host. That is strange. DBJ. Thank you very much for being part of the show. We're continuing our dive into Planescape. Today, we are going to visit the RIBCAGE. So maybe, just maybe, the player characters, they get their ticket, they get on a train, constructed and maintained by the Modrons. And as they travel through the various um, gate towns in concordant opposition, the train stops, and seen on the horizon is a giant rib cage. And they look up and they realize the train went through a tunnel. Well, it's not really a tunnel because once they get off the train, they realize it's the kneecaps and the bent legs of maybe the giant bones of a dead god. And there, in the middle of the rib cage, is a city by the same name. This city is it is a tendril from, it is enhanced by, or maybe cursed by, the power of the nine hells. So today we're going to visit RIBCAGE, which is a gate town which has the leaking, despicable power of the nine hells here within the plane of neutrality, and then also as a gate town, a pathway to the nine hells. And why would the players be here? So we're going to go into a little bit of descriptors here, and then really talk about because of our for those who would love Planescape, we love talking about it and what it represents, and also like why would we even use it in the first place. So a lot of fun describing it, but let's have some fun getting into it. Yeah, it says rules are made to be taken advantage of from the wit and wisdom of Lord Parax, ruler of Ribcage. Now, here's something. All right, so uh, again, the descriptor here is that these gate towns are towns that are influenced and connected to the outer planes. And so gate towns are a great way to introduce our players to what they might expect if they actually travel to the outer planes, and yet have lots of variation, because once you go to the outer planes of existence within Planescape, they are the physical embodiment of the alignment they are associated with, and you're not going to get very much variation when you go there, or if you do see any variation, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb. But the gate towns are, dare I say, far more related to what mortal beings could associate with. Um, yeah, lawful evil, aka the evil with the best publicity. I was thinking about going there too with that. So, what fifth edition today has done is basically given us a shorthand into the gate towns and the outlands. They really haven't gone. This new box set has not gone into the outer planes, because there's a lot of problematic information when you get into the outer planes. Good if you're a mature role player and you really love delving into this thing. Horrible if you're trying to bring new players into the system and not have their their parents have a fit. So, lawful evil. This is what has been described many times as a plane. Think of all of your best legal movies and television shows and media, and the antagonist lawyer on the other side who's trying to um, use all the rules and manipulate the rules for their benefit. That's lawful evil. That's the person who's like the rules lawyer. This is the ultimate expression of rules lawyering for their benefit and never using it for somebody else's benefit. Using loopholes, using the loophole that there isn't a rule involved is also a loophole, and that kind of thing. Yeah, A and Voom, hey, says, is the 5e version any better than the Ravenloft one? I mean, Ravenloft was a letdown. I had more lore in my old 2e books. I hate to tell you this, it's the exact same way. The page count is low in the new. I got one of the books here. In the Sigil and the Outlands. It's basically how. What's the best way I can summarize this? Um, it's much better than Spelljammer. I will say that it is much better than Spelljammer. I can tell that it was written by people who were fans of it. So the best way I can describe it is the starter box. It is a beautiful looking, high quality starter box set to Planescape. So if you really want to deep dive into Planescape, and Planescape had a voice to it. If you read Planescape, it's written by it has a an actual voice of a person who wrote it, who literally traveled through the plains. It's got lots of slang. It has lots of asides written in it. It is written with a real voice. This is not written with a voice, but it's like a starter set. So yeah, it doesn't go into the outer planes. It actually only really goes describes the outlands, not the outer planes. And I mean, it's beautifully written, but again, it's more like the highlights rather than you get into the problematic stuff. Listen, it doesn't shy away from like the slavery and torture part of it, which I'm pretty surprised about. But yeah, if you want a couple of thousand pages of material for Planescape, uh, you're better off going getting the 2E stuff, and you can get it in print today. It's not like it doesn't exist. It's just as it hasn't been updated. TA says problematic sounds like a term they used to describe the antagonists of demons D&D back during the Satanic Panic. Yes, that is exactly it. Yes, it. For those who don't know, there was a period of time where the word fiend and devil and demon was removed from Dungeons and Dragons, and they gave them identities like Eugaliths and has Bertu. I can't remember all the old names of the different types of lower level beings that were fiendish at the time, and they slightly sanitized them, and then eventually, once the Satanic Panic went away, slowly they were converted back, except for the Yugoloths, I believe, which used to be the Daemons, Daemons. Vince says, I personally prefer devils to be actually smart about making contracts. Using contracts PCs would actually sign is so much more compelling. I definitely agree. And I feel like the reason for using this place known as RIBCAGE is a perfect opportunity to introduce the players to what devils and what devils and contracts are about. So, for example, like why would players go to RIBCAGE? Well, because this is an outland region. What a great way for the Nine Hells to begin recruiting people to show off some of their power. And mind you, there is a little bit they know they're devils. You're on the plains. Why would people make a contract with them? And that's essentially like asking, like, why would people make deals with criminals when they're criminals? Like it's like Las Vegas, places with casinos and stuff. There's always strong arming people because you have gamblers, they need money. They have people who are willing to lend you money, in a gray market, red market kind of way. So yeah, just because people know that they're evil doesn't mean that they're going to avoid them completely. And also, I would like to answer the question that was posed before by a member of the Shy Squad that was like, well, who lives down here? Like, what kind of NPCs, who fills the bulk of the beings that would live in this region? And I'm going to answer that. But after I find out what our co-hosts have to say. Vince says, a devil I made for my campaigns actually tried to get the paladin to stop chasing him by giving him a new, more juicy target to chase. Oh, hell yeah. A portal where demons enter the material plane. That would absolutely, for those who don't know, there's something known as the Blood War. And the Blood War is a three-pronged battle. So devils have known to be lawful evil. There's fewer devils, far more devils than you would find in the upper planes of the celestials, but there's less devils. There's far more demons. Demons are chaotic evil, and they're just wild and unruly. But devils are very methodical. They have a their plans are long, and the blood war exists so that the the fiends on the lower planes are fighting each other. The devils are fighting against the demons fighting against the devils. If the devils win and take over the demons, they would establish an extremely harsh rulership over the demons that want their freedom. And the demons, if they take over the nine hells and the devils, would mean that all the rules that they worked for would be completely wiped out, and no one wants to lose their power. And there's a third entity, a secret entity, if you will, that's trying to keep that blood war going so that they don't work together. Because if they work together, their numbers would just overflow. So that's part of the blood war. That's uh, emblematic in the background of Dungeons and Dragons, and I guess other fantasy D20. Demon and demolition are not too far removed in spelling and meaning, it seems. Demolay of the Freemasons, the name for the young men and boys group, if I recall. Oh, I mean, why would right? I get that the origins of our language, that demon and demolition, kind of it's basically demon and then destruction added to that because the meaning of the demon would be destruction. I get that. Yeah, I would say that. And Voom says, "Oh, my players are growing paranoid quickly. I don't know why. They aren't signing anything." Yeah. Well, yeah, there's that. I guess a good way to try to convince them to sign something is have some of their adversaries sign the same thing that they refused, and their adversaries get more powerful. That might be a good thing, like the dangle, like, oh, you didn't sign it, give it to somebody else, Yeah. TA says an angry prepper would say, criminal's going to criminal. Yeah, yeah, why not? Right? That's a thing. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, then try to make contracts that are so beneficial to them that it becomes hard to refuse them. They don't actually have to sign it to be engaging. Exactly. And here's a backwards kind of way. Devils would probably be willing to give a beneficial contract, um, on the surface, knowing that later on they can extract a terrible thing. Drug dealers, right? First one's free. After that, right? Hey, we want you to buy this far too expensive car. Here's the keys. Go for a test drive. Take it for a couple of days, and then you're just like, "Oh, this feels really good. I love the way my ass feels in this thing." And then you go take it back. Like, sorry, we're gonna have to take the car back. You said you couldn't afford it, but I mean, it's here. See how smooth it rides, and yeah, I mean that's a thing. So devils could absolutely give you all the benefit and none of the drawback in the beginning, especially if it benefits them in some other kind of way. Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, yeah. My paladin did not actually sign the contract, but he was really thinking about it. Yep. Yep. Sounds like politics, and especially in the modern age. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It sure is. It really is. That's why I don't like the act of what a politician, the actual job description of how politicians get to where they are, basically is them signing little by little, having to sign away their soul to get to higher levels and stuff. Yep, demons and devils on both sides. Vince says, I mean, getting through Baator without any kind of deal would be hard. Even just immunity to be attacked all the time in exchange for some favors would make it a lot easier. Yes, yeah. So, RIBCAGE. What is RIBCAGE, and what the hell about the nine hells? So RIBCAGE, the city, and let's see if I know it's going to be horrible because I'm gonna hold this book up and it never gets the proper, uh, never gets the proper imagery here. So this is what RIBCAGE looks like, and um, RIBCAGE is, again, it is arcanely influenced because it even exists because of the nine hells, and it exists in the outlands, which is basically the the wild lands of what is essentially concordant opposition, the land of neutrality. And this train that our player characters may have gotten a ticket on, they have to get off. What is it about RIBCAGE? Well, RIBCAGE is the transitional period to go down into the nine hells, and what a great way for uh, devils to arrive in sigil, to arrive in the planes and talk with other people, and non-violently, most likely, um, to express why people should join them, or at least to alleviate their fears and go, no, we're not that violent. And I'm guessing, I would presume that the very um, the most civil, the most convincing, and even maybe minor rank, lower ranked devils that are fighting in to achieve great power within this their power would be here, because what are they trying to do? They're trying to recruit people to their side and offer some great deals and their services. Now, of course, a city inside of a giant rib cage, you'd say, oh, nobody wants to go there. But they literally, I would presume that while rib cage is described as basically earth that happens to be bent that way, but a dead god or something that was defeated, what a great place to leave their city, right? They could claim that, guess what? This great evil would have dominated the whole plains if it wasn't for us destroying it and putting our city literally in its giant chest. And if it wasn't for us, you all would be dead. Or it could be the dead body of a powerful celestial, like a Titan level celestial that they defeated and built a city on top of to prove their power and their might, almost sticking it, giving the middle finger, poking in the eye of the celestials that are above them. Yeah. Vince says those rib cages or bones of a dead god could be a super valuable crafting material. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Now, Vince mentions, Drew says everybody wants to be a chest burster in a city of ribcage. Yeah. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime. It's an aside to an aside, a joke about the chest bursters from the Alien movie, and then it was a comedy movie based around that with the little chest burster. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Vince says ribcage is governed by Lord Quintal Parax and a council of 5 senators. He is held under control by bribery and threats. Why not give the PCs an opportunity to free a senator from him? Now, you say that, but according to, and I'm challenging you on this because I think it's fun. According to this, that individual is no longer in charge of ribcage. Instead, let's see if I can just. I don't want to give away a secret, but I got to describe her. It says, to prevent the gate town from becoming so evil that it experiences a cosmic realignment, Duchess Zelza Zerbane, and it describes the stat block a little bit, and her senators have enacted a policy limiting the number of devils in ribcage. She is in a suit and tie. Duchess Zerbane masquerades as a tiefling arbiter. Several unicorn horns support the soles of her clacking obsidian heels, and her briefcase, a subservient mimic, snaps open to reveal a drooling maw of jagged teeth. Her excellency rarely shows her true form and keeps her abilities secret, preferring to find victims through legal proceedings and blackmail. So what it's coming across is, and this is basically, and Vince says he used the old wiki source. Here's the beauty of this. From the original Planscape till today, all of this is described by unreliable narrators. Here's the other thing. There's churn. If you've ever watched the sci-fi show The Expanse with 5 seasons, 6 seasons, whatever, 5 seasons. Yeah, Vince says this woman has style, except for the 2 unicorns that had to be slain for her stiletto heels that clickety clack. Right, but here's the thing. What it tells us is there's a lot of churn. There's turnover. If in your world you have a different person that takes over RIBCAGE or any of these outlands, then it's true. Right? Maybe this was a rumor. Maybe this was true until that person that word left and that person was killed or just um, exiled or murdered or sent to another plane of existence or maybe old Lord, what did you say? Lord Quinto Parax comes back and is like, you took my briefcase, you know? Um, so all that kind of stuff. So you can have anybody control it, and maybe the player characters move into that position, or someone requests them to move into that position. Um, Another thing that is a part of the environment of these outland cities, gate towns, is that they cannot be as the more aligned they are with the outer plane, like the nine hells, the greater chance ribcage gets pulled into the nine hells and doesn't exist in concordant opposition any longer. It doesn't exist on the neutral plane. So there must be something that's not neutral evil about this region. And I would say that the reason it's probably not so neutral evil is that this is a great place for devils and celestials and other beings to parlay, to talk. Like Ribcage, as terrible, you're basically on their home turf, but on their home turf, you're safe in some way. It's like, oh no, we're going to try to get you to sign contracts. We're going to make this. We're going to stroke your ego so much, but rest assured, we're not going to have a fight right here. Because if we have a fight, we got a gate. We can open up a gate and get some of our fellows from the first plane of Avernus and come here. If you really want to fight, yeah, we can get a couple hundred of my buddies, but we're not going to do that. We're going to sit back and talk. And I'm thinking of this like a police procedural, right? Where the devils think of themselves as like police detectives talking with the local gangs, and it's like, no, we got some cops. I mean, we're 30,000 strong if you really want to fight. But really, what we're trying to do is keep some peace. And this is also a great way for the devils to gain knowledge from other beings from around the multiverse. Hey, come here, and oh, do you want to have a conversation? You know, Ben says, I mean, style doesn't have to be ethical. How metal are unicorn horns, right? Hey, listen, the best style isn't really ethical. How many? My outfit has 13 dead animals. How many does yours have? One, but it's all Tarask. Yeah. Yeah. Like having a hat with some angel feathers in them. Hell's yeah. Now, I bet, see, listen, the fashion part, that how they describe her and all that, it's silly, but if you think about it, imagine a devil with a nice wide brim hat and an angel's feather stuck in it, and the celestials know which angel was murder killed, and they have a feather in their cap because of it. How baller would that be? And the PCs are like, why is everybody all upset? And it's like, oh, they killed my they Gabriel stuck down here or something of that nature, right? So I'd like to also, this is another slight aside. So I think there are, if I wanted to bring this down to its simplest form, I think there are three types of entities that would live down in the plains. Yeah, Vince's fashion is always a statement. Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Especially having that angel's feather stuck in your cap or something. You're picking your teeth with the end of it. And they're like, mother, oh, I'm so mad. And the devils are like, what did you say? I thought we weren't going to use foul language. We're going to have to ding you on that one. Right? Vince is a very underutilized aspect of gameplay. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I mean, the way we present ourselves is extremely important. So, for me and for your own world, I think there's three types of commoners, NPCs. I think you can fill for your outer planes structures, and each one is worse than the next one. So I think the first one is filled with the souls of people who are here, and they know why they're here. They know they died. They know they got sent here, and they're failing in their ability to probably try to remove themselves or accept their fate. So On one end, down, especially down in the lower planes, which is horrible living conditions. You can roll a d6, and on a 1 or 2, you get people who like the player characters. They know why they got sent here. They're completely aware that they left their family behind for whatever reason. Maybe they were sent here by accident. They were sent here on purpose. For the most part, they deserve to be here, and they're like, "Oh man, I can't believe I'm here." And despite the fact that they're fighting against why they're here, they keep repeating the same actions and falling back into the thing. It's like, hey, I need to be good, hopefully to escape the nine hells, pandemonium, limbo, Acheron, Gehenna, the abyss, and all these other places. You want to do good, but they end up backstabbing their friends. They're thieves. They start lying, and the cycle continues. Right. You take that d6, you roll a 3 or 4. You got your middle people. These are the people that don't remember their past life, but they're here. This is also probably open up your monster manual, find the alignment, write down a couple that are appropriate for yours, usually 4 to 6. I give myself at least 6 of them, and fill the places with the people that are aligned with the alignment of the outer planes that they align with. Chaotic evil, you could pick 20 of them, but you pick about 6 to 8, and you're done. Lawful good, pick 6 lawful good monsters kind of things if you want to. Fill it with a bunch of humanoids, not human beings, but humanoids, and round that out, and you're done. It would be filled with those. Now, I think the middle ground people don't remember their old lives. They just live in a place and they know the rules, and these would be the people that would by their behavior explain what the realm is like to the other player characters. For example, the player characters get off the train and someone's like, "Hey, visitors, hey, what's going on?" They hand them like a 500-page book, and it's like, "Listen, here's the city. You might want to read this first to learn all the rules." And this is the 57th edition. The 58th edition is coming off the printing press pretty soon. So hurry up and read this before the next printing comes off, and you'll be fine. And they walk away, and the PCs are like, "What the hell? I'm not going to have a chance to read a 500-page book." you know um I love that. Yep. Vince is coming back to topic. Yeah, Avernus is ruled by Azariel D. I always dis, it's a dis. I always pronounce it D. But anyway, ruled by Despater. Monaros ruled by Mammon. Phlegathos ruled by Belial. Fierna ruled by rule Stygia. That's right, the couple. Phlegos is ruled by Belial and Fierna, and they're like a rival, tight-knit couple. And then Stygia is ruled by Levestus, and Malbolge ruled by Glacia, and then Maladominia ruled by Beelzebub, and Cania ruled by Mephistopheles, and Nessus ruled by Asmodeus or Asmodeus. Asmodeus, but it could be Asmodeus. And out of all those that have ruled the nine hells, every once in a while they'll disappear, doing other things. Yeah. TA says, so basically you transition from D&D to Rollmaster when you enter that city with the 500-page rule and law book. Yeah. It's like there would be people living here who know the rules, but the player characters don't. I would say my third grouping, and these are all the assholes, right? The third grouping are the people who are like, I don't belong here. You're wrong. This whole thing is bad. And they stomp around talking about why they're innocent and they shouldn't be here. And I think because of how we have these arguments about what alignment means, and it doesn't fit in right, and everyone's got all these arguments. This is where you actually make the physical representation of all those arguments. You have the person who's like, yeah, maybe I was chaotic neutral in my life, but this isn't chaotic neutral. Chaotic neutral means something else, and I shouldn't be here, right? This is where you have the people who are walking around going like, this is wrong, I'm innocent, I don't be... And then you just fill the world with those individuals and beseech the player characters and bother them. Yes, I did that. Yes. Yes, Falco. Yes, someone is a person of a certain age that remembers a certain long running MTV video song. Somebody knows something. Vince says, I think this is one of those cities where you cannot know all the rules unless it's your job. And even then, yep. As a matter of fact, maybe to navigate the city, you have to hire someone that knows those rules, like hiring a lawyer to defend yourself from a crime you didn't commit. Essentially, come into this city, and yeah, you're probably going to offend someone, and you're going to get sued. And then the players are like, "Can't we just beat their ass?" And the city is like, "You don't want to do that because you're gonna get your ass kicked." Essentially, so how do you navigate this? And it's like, oh damn, now we need to hire somebody, and the person that they hire is like, I get paid 200 gold pieces an hour. That's why I look so good. Yeah. And Boom says, you mean when MTV actually played music? Yes. And back in my day, we had things called videos where they played music. Anyway, um, great stories to tell in RIBCAGE and essentially going into the Nine Hells. I could imagine the player characters trying to get a contract back from a great hero who can't go. They signed a contract, and the PCs are like, "Oh man," like a warlock or something, and the PCs are like, "We have to go into Ribcage and make a deal to get our contract back for our friend." They could be emissaries for an NPC to find someone's contract and find out maybe in a very old contract from a great leader or something, and that contract is being called into question, like, the devil's like, listen, I let you have a great life for 70 years. Now's my time. I get what I want. And they're like, oh, they grab the PCs and they're like, they're going to cash in on this contract. And I've been a goodly leader until now. Please get me out of this contract and go retrieve it. And that could be a heist. It could be trying to figure out how to sneak in and steal it. It could be making a deal with a rival devil to get the contract from another devil. Like one devil's like, oh, I see PCs, what you're trying to do. You want to get the contract from, I don't know, Azrael, and I'm, I don't know, Yagathith or something. Just pulling this out of my ass. And they go, I could move up. If I steal their contract, they'll get pulled down a peg. All right, I'll work with you. Or at least I'll turn a blind eye just to let you come in, right? And that would be pretty awesome as well. Like a heist to get the contract back. The heist could be a bait and switch. We write a new contract and slip it in, and the devils are like, damn it, you did it. Oh, you got past. Slow clap. Yeah, okay. All right, or the player characters find some kind of like there's fine print that gets you out of your contract, but that the devils don't want you to know. And especially in Ribcage, where lawful evil hasn't dominated this region, that there is room to maneuver with some of these contracts and maybe get out of the wording. And you're like, oh, but in the fine print you said, and the devil's like, okay, you found out. All right, bet. All right, yeah, fist bump. You got me. All right, 200 years, we'll be back. TA says also maybe someone could poke the bear by saying this is hell basically, and it's not war. What is the difference between war and hell? Hell has no innocent people. War is full of mostly peaceful people. Yeah, 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 absolutely. NPCs that are like, look, we're all innocent in this together. It's wrong and blah blah blah. Speaking out, you know. Oh shit! I just imagine unemployed lawyers at each gate trying to get hired by strangers. Yeah, absolutely. Ambulance chasers like scrambling for for any little bit to get their tattered suits and briefcases and stuff. They don't have you don't have to do it that way, but it could be that way. Yeah, maybe some of them are outcast celestial type beings. Now, mind you, we talk about devils and outcasts and celestials and demons and things, but really the vast majority would actually be people. We forget that the outer planes that align with the alignment are filled with people with those alignments. So whatever humanoids you would have in your world or across your multiverse would probably be here. So humans with body functions that are a little bit tiefling like, um, ruddy skin, maybe a little tiny horns growing on them, maybe having a cough and belching up fire or something. Um, maybe someone permanently has a dagger behind their back. Like, why are you always walking around like that? No reason. No reason, forked, an elf with a forked tongue, a gnome with flaming hair or something. Like these individuals could be here and probably would fill the gaps with all of this kind of stuff. Hey, our two-faced person has two faces. Someone who talks out the side of their neck has a mouth that keeps talking, and they keep getting pissed off because the words coming out of their main mouth are lies, and then the truth keeps talking out the side of their neck. And like, damn it, I tried to convince you. Maybe someone has a third arm that's trying to sneak out and pickpocket someone. While only a small minority of guilty people are causing the whole war, that the innocent suffer from and the guilty profit from huge difference between hell and war. Yes, plenty. That's been my rule for a lot of things, right? It's usually most things break down to the few ruining it for the many. And while I do agree that the few can change things for the better for the many, oftentimes it's the few, right? It's we need a curfew because the few keep playing their music loud. We need to take our shoes off in airports because the few decided to put a bomb in the sole of their shoe. It's usually that way, and the rest of us just suffer from all the bullshit, right? Like, I love unions. I love the fact that a union has protected my job, that given me high wages, has keeps my employer from pretty much butt penetrating me on a daily basis because they try to do that. But guess what? Unions have a habit of protecting the worst employees that many of us would love to kick out, right? So yeah. Drew says making a contract to get another contract back. Yes. Vince says Falco is German culture, even if he was Austrian. Yes. MTV was filled with plenty of Euro stars that quickly came about and made music videos here in the States. So during like the 80s and the highs of MTV, most of them were of like across the pond. So yeah, and further. Vince says, reminds me of Burn Notice. I give you the next breadcrumb for finding what you want if you do this job for me. Yeah, absolutely. And listen, the devils don't actually have to burn the player characters, if that makes sense, right? Like, there could be an ally. Like the devils really want, they want power too. If that means getting an ally of people that are outside of the devilish hierarchy, then yeah, why not recruit the player characters? Lawyer, the most hated rogue subclass. Yeah, hell's yeah. You're like, listen, not only am I gonna manipulate the rules in your face, I'm gonna use the book and use the rules against you. I mean, how many times have we heard of in our police lawyer? Listen, television, police, rescue, medical, lawyer. We have a lot of these procedural shows, and how do they get the bad guy off? The paperwork's wrong. The evidence wasn't. There was a problem with transfer of evidence from one place to another. The cop is on a vendetta to go after the bad guy. But if you do something wrong, if you break and enter or force a confession, the bad guy's going to get off. And guess what happens? Our protagonist gets upset, punches out the bad guy. Bad guy laughs, spits blood, laughs, and then the judge goes, "Well, police assaulted our person who was assailed the individual, so we're going to let them go," or whatever. Or the bad guy has a bunch of people that are paid off or threatened or whatever, and the bad guy's like, "I didn't do it. I mean, if they could have been my gang members or mobsters, but I didn't do it. I was in jail at the time," And I think devils would use that to their advantage. Devils would love other people who are good and lawful because they're the best people to take advantage of. TA says something interesting could be that there are mines full of flowing gold and silver and gems that are still alive, and you can squeeze them out to make, say, diamond juice from them and such. You're talking about limbo. We'll get to limbo with strange physics, flowing earth, burning air, liquid like water. I mean, well, can't have liquid like water, but think the physical nature of a realm being something else. Yeah, absolutely. You can hear it squirm and scream every time you take something. Yeah. Ugh. Which um, demons and devils are actually formed from the souls of those that have passed. For devils, the soul isn't shredded; it actually becomes the lowest level of uh, the way they describe it is you become basically like a zero level devil, and you have to achieve things. You basically have to destroy the people above you, and you have a transformation from one to another to become a greater devil. You basically embrace the idea of being lawful evil. For demons, your personality and soul is shredded, and what's left of it is pure anger or hatred or jealousy, and then it's like a amalgam of other souls, and you become a demon, and that kind of thing. So devils, you could also make them very approachable by having them have a real relationship because they remember their old lives. And maybe some of the people come down here and they're like, I remember you. Maybe they're living in the nine hells. They come out to RIBCAGE because maybe they have a real honest relationship with people who have gone to the upper planes, neutral and upper planes, and they still remember each other even unto death. And they're like, you know, guy, man, really? You went down to the nine hells? And like, yeah. I mean, this is me. You knew it was me. Yeah, I was in life, but I didn't think you were like this. Looking him up, devil up and down. Is like, yeah, look at me. I mean, I think I'm kind of cool, right? And they might even have like a little conversation, like, well, listen, we're going to get back to this war. I hope to see you across the battlefield, or maybe I don't hope to see you, but hey, all right, man, I'll see you in a couple of hundred years. Oh, you guys are funny. Lawyer's main class ability. Objection. You cast a fireball. Objection. Yeah. Chain of custody or improper procedure to obtain it, making it invalid. I wonder if you could turn that arcane, meaning like, um, this is a weird thing to say. You PC goes to cast a spell or pull out a magic item, and the physics of RIBCAGE or even the physics of the nine hells says that the the rule that allows you to bring your powerful magics here, you didn't abide by the rules. So my objection makes that invalid. You don't have that magic any longer. That would be really cool to describe that as like a counter spell or dispel magic or making someone's magic item completely inert because literally they objected to a rule that the PCs didn't follow and now they don't have that power. That would be really cool to see that happen. Deadman says if you have a lawyer class, you have to have a judge class. Ooh. Yeah, a judge class. What would be the base class? Warlock, fighter? Fighter would be funny because of the hammer. Yeah, or paladin. Ooh, would be a brand. That's crazy. Yeah, I can see that being a Magic the Gathering card and a reversal card to counter it of overruled, and maybe a card that helps reinforce it called sustained. Damn, you could run a whole gamut of legalese and turn them into like, oh, you player character, I have magic. Nope, it's invalid. No, I want to have it overruled. No, it's sustained. No, these could be little trinkets you could find. Like they could be arcane, what would I say, procedural things, words of arcane power that is respected. No, it's literally enforced in you can acquire them in RIBCAGE and you can use them to go into the nine hells. And maybe this is the place where they're kind of like formed or discovered or created. And player characters, it's like a reward. So if they're able to pull out um, an overruled charm or a sustained charm or What are some other things? Uh, you know, uh, hey, your argument has rest, or closing argument, opening statement. Uh, you meet a PC and pull out another, and the PC's just be like a pain in the ass, and you're like, nope, I'd like to have another witness, please. And suddenly the PC completely changes, and everyone's just like, no, they didn't disappear. They're literally reality changes, and it's a new NPC or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's just really weird. TA says, would be interesting to have physical representations of evidence, like things seen by another that become tangible, and it has a sort of DNA like embedded in it. So handling it keeps adding more to it. That would be pretty awesome. Yeah, you could totally make a Phoenix Wright RPG. Yes, you could. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the more you have, the more you have, the muddier this DNA of handling and creation becomes. So it is almost like a chain of custody that is physically able to be seen by an observer. Maybe that's how, if a devil claims they did something, how do they prove truth if everybody's a liar? Maybe that's the way, like like blockchain. It's like it's absolute proof, because it's not one person's word against another. It's absolute proof that a devil of a higher rank can judge two lower level devils to find out which one would. For example, they kill a great hero, a knighted hero who's now dead and living, who has been elevated into the upper planes or something, and one of the devils like, I killed him. No, I killed him. And yeah, summon evidence. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. This actually already exists. There's a TTRPG called Just a Car based on Phoenix Wright. I did not know that. Yeah, that's awesome. Also, actions and observing become a tangible thing you could pick up, like an opinion someone has becomes a stone-like object that can also be used as a magic spell or potion components. I love that. Oh shit. Drew says Ribcage now deals in NFTs. Yeah, yeah. All the bad sides of the NFT process as well, right? Liars and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I love that. Now, I think some other adventure ideas for visiting, for the ability to visit Ribcage, is the opposite. Maybe they're devils that want to get out of here, or they're exposed to other outward or outland beings, and they know, how do I say this? They they are no longer, they want to express or desire or see what not being lawful evil is like. And, is it a full conversion? Maybe, maybe not. But maybe they're on the outer edges of the alignment system, right? Where they're kind of flowing over into something else. Like, for example, going from lawful evil to lawful neutral, maybe there are proto devils that are hanging out with the Modrons and stuff, that just like, oh, these rules are overpowering. Look, I'm just a person who loves rules. And the fact that everyone's like using them and breaking the codes and stuff. Look, I just want the rules, the spirit of the rule and the real rule to just be the thing. And maybe they're just there. Devils are like, listen, I'll trade information if you could just get me out of here. I'm not even about myself. I just want I want to have some peace, Um, yeah, or maybe there's some devils that are like, I just want to remove the shackles off of me and just go wild. You know, I want to head towards chaos. Found an actual play of Just a Car on the channel called Plus One Experience. I did. Oh, that's sweet. Let's see if I can find it. Hmm. So we need to get together and run a TTRPG online, but have us in a frame with some people stopping the action periodically to judge the players' role play and DM's choices and actions. Hey, a very high level popular actual play series could actually do something like that. Hey, donate enough money for like a nonprofit or something, and the people watching or participating on the outside could come in and go, nope, we're canceling your action. Objection. And they're like, damn it, that'd be awesome. I once played in by Nerdarchy, played in um, a face rip Marvel superheroes game where the NPCs that were in the city, we were playing superheroes. The NPCs were the people who were watching the actual play, and they could influence what the NPCs were doing. It's pretty fun. It was a great idea. It was pretty fun. RIBCAGE also gives us the idea of introducing the player characters to what the nine hells are and who represents who on which level of the nine hells, and may also, like, like the heist, like the fetch quest, like getting making a contract to have another contract. It may also, I love the idea of using the planes of existence as a mirror to the player characters, like the player character that wants to make up the lawful evil um dark knight or something comes here and realizes that there's people even worse than themselves that are taking the idea of being lawful and evil a little bit too strongly, and the player character might be thinking of themselves like, oh, you cast a mirror on me, I don't like the way this seems. um, players may have NPCs that were murder killed by them that now exist in the outer planes, that, or at least in the outlands, that are trying to beseech, as like petitioners, and beseech the player characters like, listen, you killed me and I'm not mad at you, but I'm stuck down here. So let's make a deal. If you get me out of here, or because I really don't belong here, even though I really do, I don't belong here. Hey, you can make up what you did to me by getting me out. That would be a very interesting atonement for the goodly knight that had to murder kill a bunch of people, and then in the afterlife, both both the players and the people they murder killed are here. Heck, even the player characters who've gone through a bunch of dungeons could even meet some of those individuals who are like, yeah, a Medusa, a vampire lord, an errant dragon, a horde of orcs, a couple of bugbears, and a few ogres thrown in there, and they all are like, yeah, a devil came to all of us and made a deal, and we're all together, and they're cracking their knuckles, like, all right, you're not leaving RIBCAGE, not now, not ever. They become their own gang against the player characters. They're like, oh shit, all those people we killed are down here. Damn it! And they made a deal to get together. And I'm saying here, mind you, they could be spread across the multiverse, but they could have been gathered together by a devil who's following the player characters and following their exploits, and then brings their enemies together, and that would be a great weapon as well. Um, Also, things lost in the multiverse, you would absolutely positively, devils tend to be very brilliant and intelligent, and things lost in the Planescape multiverse could be brought here and then extorted to return back to the people that want it. That, hey, in the Blood War, those holy weapons that get lost because someone's murder killed or whatever, oh, we can't use them, but you don't have it. You want that holy +5 holy flaming holy avenger intelligent sword back with the soul of one of your ancestors? We'll give it back, but do something for us, and it's going to benefit you. We've got enemies in the abyss. We'll give you a key to open up a portal to get there. Matter of fact, here's a ticket to get on a train and travel there, and get off at the outland gate town that leads into the upper layers of, or the maelstrom of the abyss, or something like that. And we can get you there. We can get you back out. At the end, you can get your sword back, maybe. Oh man, Vince says, I actually thought about having something like a DM school where you analyze an actual play and what could be improved or what choices they were being made. I thought about doing that. I wasn't sure if somebody would watch that. Like, I always thought it would be cool to do a truncated actual play, like get people to do an actual play to be part of how would you use this in a game, play it, stop, and then at the end of it, all the people that participate in it then judge themselves and kind of have an open talk about it. So I was on the same page with you there, Vince, of having like a DM school actual play, and you could make it short, like half an hour to 45 minutes of like in media res, and then at the end of it go, well, here's the first half, and here's why we did what we did in the second half, or could have improved, or hey, here's the rule that we were going to use, but it was problematic, or things like that. That's awesome. Um, you have a dungeon master that's running a game for players. That each player is either playing a player that is playing a game, or one of the players is playing the player character that dies. Oh no, you're gonna get me lost. The player is playing a player. He says, "Oh damn, the real life saved me from the honorable trip to Baator." Yes, for those who don't know, the Nine Hells is known as the Nine Hells of Baator. I presume that's how it's pronounced. I thank you for not ripping me a new one for butchering the pronunciation of uh, um, and I'm going to butcher it again. Carcerai? Ah, shit! I know I did. Oh, so we should make the GM University. What do you say, Professor T? Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's a great because sometimes people see an actual play and they realize the actual play isn't how the game is played, and then some people see how the game is really played. I don't know. I think there's a balance in there to like show how the sausage is made. Essentially, here's how the game is played, and then here are the problems the game has and the solutions it has, or how this game, hey, this game plays differently because it does this thing differently, or hey, this game has a lot of dice rolling. How does that change the flow of the game? Sometimes when people try to read the rules of a new game they're not familiar with, the instinct is that game sucks because it has a mechanism in it I'm not familiar with, i.e., it sucks. Whereas maybe the game has a flow, maybe the game flows far smoother than we think it does, or it's more clunky than we think it is. Right? It's like, oh, that's a real simple. It's a dice pool system. That's really cool. And then you realize, oh, they're spending 15 minutes making a dice pool. Damn it, something like that. You're so silly there, TA. You're so silly. Wow. Uh, you're so bad. TA says, as for the school thing, I think it would be fun to do that and have one one for DMs and players to attend to learn tricks and develop skills to play the game better, almost like acting school as well as writing school, but more dynamic. Yes, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, and here's the problematic part of it that I think would be cool is challenging the people who participate, challenging themselves and going like, yeah, I made a mistake this for doing this thing, or in the moment I made this decision because it was quicker, because the real rule was more complicated. Like, I don't know. Hey, wrestling in this RPG is complicated, but this was just a simple, we want to wrestle the object out of the monster's hands. So I decided not to use that rule for like we can have these asides and go, well, why didn't you use the rule on page 357? Well, it starts at 357 but it goes on to 368, and we wanted to get this done quickly. So, and that would be a really cool conversation to have. Like, oh, that's why you said, hey, roll with a disadvantage or whatever the case might be. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Official pronunciation of pronunciation is carceri. Hey, if you listen, sigil and sigil. So on mastering the game podcast, they at PAX, it was like PAX Unplugged, they talked to the original creator of Planscape. Sets the original editor and creator of Planescape, the second edition, was told about the sigil problem, which is, I think they did it on purpose. It's kind of funny, and literally said, "Well, why the hell would they do that? There was ever no reason." But then they found out that in the game, there's lore in the game that there's a faction that says that if you mispronounce the name of sigil and mispronounce it because it's actually sigil, they will try to arrest you or something silly like that. Like they're so pedantic about pronunciations that everyone, like I always say, there is no right or wrong. It's consensus because words change over time and we change our pronunciation. Plus we have different languages and we have different regions. Like some of the European tendency to drop the T. Like, remember I joked about the pronunciation of brother and brutta, and a brother and all that, because of language, accenting things. And it was pretty, yeah, Sigil. It's not Sigil. Even though Watsy says it's Sigil. It's so stupid. Here's my thing. I know they're trying to be funny, but why there's so many other words that are so hard to pronounce anyway. You didn't need to take a simple word and make it a point of contention. And here's the thing. It doesn't really matter. Nope. The fact that it is a thing proves the point of the thing being a thing, right? Yeah. Vince says, weirdly enough, I'm currently doing a write-up of clear definitions of simulation versus narrative play and railroad versus sandbox play, where I define it very detailed and use this definition. Yeah. Like a lecture. Okay. Yeah, it's funny because once you get into like the whole 45 minutes arguing about alignment, and then you get another 35 minutes arguing about what hit points and armor class are, and then you get an argument about what is sigil and sigil and all that, and it's just like I'm just rolling my eyes like, fuck. It's called consensus. Hey, is it Asmodeus or Asmodeus? Whatever. It doesn't. A rose by any other name is still a rose, and by height, focusing on it is a bullshit. It's just like, the plane everyone wants to visit first, and I missed it all thanks to my bank and its lawful evil opening hours. You're all right there, man. I also think I think you should just do a definition and stick with it. Exactly. Oh. Yeah, no reason to argue. Exactly. Hey, don't be anti-semantic. Yeah. To call the Anti-Definition League. Good one. Could you imagine a t-shirt that says, I am anti-semantic? And everyone like completely is just like, what the fuck? Like, no, not that. I'm against... I'm I'm against placing the improper emphasis on the incorrect syllable. Yeah, and why not just be annoying to Asmodeus and call him Asmodeus? Yeah, yeah. I'd like to get a job at this dumbass company, and and then it says Dumas on it. Yeah. Vince says German bureaucracy is very lawful evil. I think most bureaucracies tend to fall into the like they have a goal of falling into the lawful evil category. Yeah, when my mother was alive, she had medical issues, and in order for her to apply for housing that was medical, so she was in a wheelchair, and she wanted to get an apartment or housing that had a ramp and access for medical purposes, for mobility and things like that. And they said, well, here's the list. Here's how you get on the list. Here are the places and such. And she says, okay. And so she was living in a place that was low income, and I wanted her to move with me. She refused. And they told her, well, you can't move into the handicap accessible place because you're living in low income. And my mom's like, well, why? And they said, well, you're receiving a benefit for living in low income, so you can't get the benefit of living in the handicap housing. And my mom's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. The whole point of me living in low income is that I can't afford the medical housing, which is the place that I'm trying to apply for. And so the bureaucracy was she had to move out. She moved in with me. I finally got her to move in with me. And then eventually, because she wasn't on any kind of assistance, she then was able to get the assistance of moving into play. Anyway, there was a whole thing about getting on the list, and she was in the lobby, and she wanted to get on the list, and they were like, well, you got to get on the list. And she's like, well, can I see the list? And they were like, well, you can't really see the list. And she's like, well, I want to put my name on the list. And they hemmed and hawed, and she says, well, I'll just stay down here in the lobby. And they were like, well, we're going to be closing. And she's like, so I'll stay here in the lobby until I get to see that list. And the security guard is like, I'm not touching her. Yeah. No, I'm not anti-semantic. I have no problem with any people except those who refuse to use the right words for the right meanings. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Vincent, I think most bureaucracies tend towards lawful evil over time. Exactly. That said, you cannot really bribe them, so they are more like lawful neutral or lawful board. Yes. Yeah, I guess it would be more. I guess it would be more lawful neutral because they just can't be moved. You try to break the bureaucracy, and they're just like, hell no, hell no. There was a mayor in Philadelphia long ago, back in the late '90s, early 2000s, Rydell or something, and a fluorescent light went out in his office, and he went down the hallway to go to maintenance to get them, hey, do you have a fluorescent light bulb so I can just stand on a chair and change the light? And the guy told no, maintenance has to change it. He's like, okay, well, can I get maintenance to change it? He said, sure. You have to find somebody to change it. And he's like, well, your maintenance, can't you just walk into my office and change it right now? No, you have to fill out a form to get them to get a fluorescent bulb to put it up into the light thing. And he's like, well, don't you have one in a closet? Yes, we have a closet, but you have to fill out the form to get it requisitioned so that we know that a light bulb has been removed so that you can do. And he's like, well, can't you just write down that you removed one fluorescent bulb to change the fluorescent bulb? And it was a whole big thing. And then he decided to leave his office and walk to each of the other offices to find out if they were all doing the same thing. It was pretty, it ended up being a thing. And it was like, yeah, that's a bureaucracy. It's like, no, mother. The TVA, nothing but time variance bureaucracy. Taking the universe to court and getting a ruling that changes the precedent of a law of physics? Yes. Could you imagine? All right, here's a great. Let's leave this off with here. I love placing the dichotomy of like good with evil, evil with good, or something like that. What if the lawful planes themselves were in control of the physics of the universe? Gravity, light, time, how magic works, everything like that. And they control that. And the devils themselves are, how to explain this? The best way to describe it would be the nine hells knows that if somebody gets their hands on the mechanisms that can adjust how the physics of the universe works, that all hell, literally hell, would break loose. And they are the heroes in this war because the lawful good people are too nice and they would allow the rules to be abused. And maybe it actually happened and it got loose. Maybe Asmodeus or Asmodeus actually supposedly actually went all the way up to the lawful good, the highest level of lawful good plane, using their own rules against them. It's part of some kind of lore, background lore. And maybe lawful neutral is so static that if someone were able to manipulate them, they don't even see it. But the lawful evil, they're like, yeah, we know how people manipulate rules. And if it wasn't for us, someone would have untied the entire universe and we're the heroes. And that would be awesome. That you go down into the nine hells where the players are like, yeah, we're going to unlock 10th level spells. Hell yeah. Or the devils are like, you know how the wish spell always burns you? We're the ones that created that. Otherwise, the wish spell would just be run rampant if it wasn't for us putting that limitation on the wish spell. It exists because we did it. As holy as Vince says, yeah, like the janitor where I work, you have to fill out a repair form for everything or he won't move a finger. Yep, that was a real thing. And all of us in the city were like, yeah, hey mayor, yeah, that's how things work. You got to fill out a form. Yeah. Vince says that would be some weird power system for an anime. Every character is a lawyer that makes contracts that change the rules of the universe in a very specific place. Sounds fun. I wonder if what we would consider a fantasy spell book is the equivalent of a book of law down in the nine hells and is almost like a translation of sorts that read magic in RIBCAGE. Like you can go to RIBCAGE and wizards even come here to get things deciphered. And they're like, listen, this floating disc spell has all these limitations on it. Why? And then there's like a decipherer down in RIBCAGE and like, listen, no one's going to tell you this, but here, and here, these rules were put in place to control its effect. Because listen, if you remove this rule and this rule, it would allow you to lift up a castle, or, you know, be able to sleep on a floating disc for, 27 hours or something like that. And like, yeah, this, listen, I can change your fireball spell, but it's going to cost you. Vince says, oh, yeah, you could totally make a spellcaster that is actually a lawyer debating the laws of the universe with each spell. That would be sweet. That would be sweet. Hey, what a great reward for a player character. They're able to get a um, they're able to get a judge to award a lawyer to change how your spells work, and now your spell works differently ever since then, because it's been written down in law and it's sitting down in the nine hells. What a weird, strange thing, right? Like, or a paladin. A goodly paladin has zero reason to trust the devil, except the devil goes, hey, paladin, you know that smite that you use all the time? The reason it works the way it does is because there's a rule in place. The goodly people that you belong to, that you think are helping you, there's a rule. We have a rule. Hey, cleric that has turn undead, guess why you can't turn humanoids? Guess why you can't turn dragons? Guess why you can't turn oozes? Because they have a rule in place. We can change that rule. We can change your lay on hands. We can change your smite to be something else if you want it to help in the war. We can do that. Now, if you want to get it changed back, you're going to have to come down here and where you get a legal decree and then you can go and actually have it changed again. So, yeah. Yeah, a fly spell would be a contract overriding gravity for a short time just for one person. Exactly. They do something similar in Final Fantasy Tactics. In this game, there are near omnipotent judges for each fight, and you can get cards that change the rules of combat once. Or some weapons or spells are forbidden, for example. Okay. Someone uses a fly spell that is, you get a contract that overrides it, and you're also creating someone who by law is against you doing what you just did. So by doing it, you automatically make a rival, maybe another devil, maybe a creature from another plane that is against you doing the thing that you just did. Like an agent from the plane of air realizes, wait, what? You just have you resisted gravity? That's our purview. You didn't ask our permission for that. Judge, we need to override this right now. And the PC is like, but I'm flying at the moment. That'd be hilarious. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining the show. Tomorrow we get to talk about Obsidian Star, my RPG setting, a game and setting. I think I'm going to use Lumen, the RPG Lumen. I'm not quite settled on it yet. I want something enough rules light that it's quick enough for people to get into it, because it's a complicated world. But we're going to talk about Mars, and Mars kind of being Earth 2.0, kind of, and that kind of thing. So if you're into science fiction and into me and kind of talking about my own thing, that'd be kind of cool. And lastly, it's taking us out till tomorrow, Professor DBJ. I appreciate that. You'll take us out on that. So guys, have a great one. Thank you very much for spending your valuable time with me. I hope hanging out with all the rest of us, you can get a little bit of change back. So guys, have a great one. I'll see you later. Peace.